Hi, everybody. This is Aisha and Dean, and we are coming to you live from Northern California.
Correct.
Concord, California,
We
actually.
just got here,
Yes.
and we are glad to be here with you.
Today we're going to talk about, obviously it's about nutrition, but we thought we should talk about how to eat out.
Correct.
How to eat healthy when you're traveling and when you go out. And it was quite relevant because we're traveling today.
Correct, and it's extremely important. We talk about these little side elements or paraphenomenon of eating, and the reason is that because it's about not failing. It's making sure that you stick to a program. We've talked about what good food is. There's no need to belabor that point and bring up the fact that we're about whole food, plant-based diet, low sugar. But how do you maintain a pattern is as critical as anything else, because that determines if you're able to succeed. And also it creates this sense inside you that you haven't failed, and it just creates a pattern and a habit.
Absolutely.
Habits are critical to us.
Absolutely.
If anything, we're habit neurologists above everything else.
That's true.
So where do we fail? One of the places we fail is when we travel, or we go to people's homes, or you eat in restaurants.
Yes.
Those are the three main areas. You can give us some examples of others. And on Monday, we will actually provide you two videos. One is about the previous session that we did, which was groceries.
Yes.
And then the second one will be about this session, which is eating out.
Yeah.
And if we can, we'll give you an example of what you can do in restaurants that you never thought that you could eat healthy in certain restaurants. And we'll give you some examples of those restaurants. What you can do in people's homes, that's a challenge.
Absolutely.
And then on the road, how else can you manage? So that's what we wanted to talk to you about. First of the three, the road trip itself.
Yes.
That's a challenge because I've grown up in a household where we traveled all the time. And
We're the get up and go kind of a
we
family
are.
anyway.
We just make
Yeah.
a decision and leave and go and create an epic moment, epic life. And that requires some organization, some planning, because part of my growing up was I would get on a trip and we would stop in a restaurant and we would eat whatever's there, or one of the parents would make some silly little sandwiches and it would be an experiment, and that cookies and
yeah.
that in itself was an experience.
It was a part of that whole memory.
Exactly, and so that brings this nostalgia, this need to live that history. So how do you create that yet stay healthy?
Absolutely.
Planning is everything. Either we really do believe that lifestyle matters, or we don't and we fail it. So planning is critical, and it's not too hard.
No.
So the road trip we planned, the foods that we planned, and even the places we stopped was a little bit planned.
Absolutely. So small adjustments, from the very beginning. Last night, for example, we're just going to talk about ourselves. Last night we decided what time we're going to get up and get on the road. Where do we have breakfast? And we have kids and a dog as well, so we had to plan for them as well. And it's all about, making sure that we have enough snacks, making sure we know what restaurants on our way actually have good food, or, that are modifiable. A lot of times you're on the road and you have no idea where you're going to go. So wherever you go, make sure that you do a little bit of research ahead of time, or maybe have, some experience in the past where they can modify things for you. Say, for example, not add too much sugar, or have sugar-free alternatives, or
Correct.
have fat-free alternatives, or, have options for vegetables and fruits that you can snack on.
Correct.
And with a little bit of planning, it just turns out really, really well.
And then containers for the road, nuts, berries and fruits, as well as
Having an ice box.
Ice box is critical.
We have an ice box that's smack in the middle of the van. We have a family van. And, just filling it up with fruits, with water, with nuts and
You just destroyed the illusion. Yeah, I was thinking, the illusion of a Bugatti or something. No, we have a van.
No illusion. We have a really big family van. That's mostly messy.
Yeah, because the dog... the dog also lives there as well.
I know.
So we all live in the van. So, but the centered in the van is the ice box, and having healthy food there, and then all these nuts and berries and everything else. Nice. Creams and sauces
dips,
and dips and things of that nature. I couldn't come up with the word. The memory problems, but nonetheless, bean dips
like hummus,
healthy,
and other healthy bean dips, for your vegetables.
But then we stopped a couple of places that we had good experience. One of them was Denny's.
Yeah.
And as much as you would think that Denny's is unhealthy, what did we have? We had the pancakes, whole wheat.
We had the whole wheat pancake,
and
yeah.
we made sure to guide them and give them some guidance, not to put butter on it. And we used sugar-free syrup and some berries and things of that nature.
We got the fruit. We got whole wheat toast. We had some peanut butter, some coffee.
Correct. And some sugar-free jams.
Sugar-free jams. So we just, we modify things, and we had a healthy breakfast.
Actually, very nice breakfast.
Yeah.
So it was wonderful. And of course, coffee, because it was early in the morning. We left at 5 to miss the LA traffic.
There are times when we have to stop at Taco Bell. We go to Taco Bell a lot, and we basically get a bean burrito, or we get some bean tacos, and we make sure that we tell them that it should be fresco, which essentially means that you don't add any sour cream or cheese in it, and they put lots of salsa, and you ask for guacamole. So you can actually have a really, really good meal.
And if you came on this conversation to hear some meta-analysis that we just published on treatment of Alzheimer's from 2 MD PhDs and with all this public health, well, we're going to talk about bean dips and Taco Bell fresco sandwiches.
It's public health. It works. These are the small decisions that you make on a regular basis makes a big difference. So,
it's critical.
Talking about bean dips is okay.
We have failed people with the false sense of security about pills too often, too long. Pills are important, but everyday living, everyday choices, everyday patterns and habits that we create are extremely much more important. So that's what we want to do here.
Yeah.
The third element, besides what you do when you go on a trip or eating out in restaurants, which is very doable, we'll give you a list of restaurants that you would never think would have healthy options, and what healthy options you can create there. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic and tasty, and so you don't feel deprived. Never feel deprived.
Absolutely. I think that's the most important thing. A lot of times when we talk about healthy foods and in our community talks, people think, oh, goodness gracious, I can't do that. That's just, taking away the most important thing in my life. I remember my mother. I have great memories from the food that I eat. And it doesn't have to be like that.
Correct.
It can be very delicious with a little bit of preparation and understanding textures and tastes and spices and things like that.
And the third element is eating at people's houses. We're at some friend's house, and we're going to be here, and just culturally and expectationally, it's expected that when they bring you food, you eat. So how do you do this? That's a minefield.
It is.
How do you traverse that minefield? Well, part of the problem is solved for the fact that they all know about us and our plant-based whole food lifestyle, and
it took a while. It took a while, though, for them to understand, some of the restrictions that we put on ourselves and the lifestyle that we've chosen to lead. But initially, the way we approached it was, first of all, if we understood that we're going somewhere where we don't have any leeway and we can't really modify anything, we would eat at home.
Correct.
We wouldn't go anywhere hungry. We would feed our kids, and that way we would, dabble with some food, but
Correct.
not really, satiate ourselves with unhealthy food. And then
although
there would be moments.
Yes, dabbling
where there would,
it has a leeway.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you go on a party, just the whole idea of eating, even though you've eaten a lot at home, the dabbling becomes
it's a feast.
It's
you
a feast, yeah.
Hang out with your family and with your friends, and eating the same meal is a part of the whole experience as well. So it's tough.
Correct.
And at times like that, we would decide to actually make a dish, a really nice dish that would be appropriate, would be healthy, and take it with us.
Correct.
So that everybody else can actually taste it as well.
Correct. And it's not overstating the fact that it is critical to have the conversation with family members about some of the things, some of the choices you've made, because it's about your health. I mean, we go to people's homes, and repeatedly it comes up that they've had people die from heart attack, from strokes, from dementia, yet the very thing that actually affects that outcome, which is food, is spoken about in a very offhandish manner.
Yeah, the connection is usually not there.
It's not there.
Yeah.
It's always comes back to the pills.
Yeah.
And we always say pills are a temporary measure. It should be a temporary measure. And lifestyle is the long-term process that can have the most effect.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
So those are the three elements. But the main thing behind it all is planning, and making sure that you create a library for yourself as far as of all the restaurants, and they all have the possibility
Yes,
of being
especially nowadays.
engineered nowadays, exactly engineered to actually be altered for better health.
And cater to your needs and your
Correct.
requests.
You can replace, cheese with avocados. You can
Yeah.
replace. You can, mayonnaise instead of mayonnaise, you can have mustard, and instead of fries, you can have fruits or vegetables and things of that nature, or
baked potatoes.
baked potatoes, things
Yeah.
of that nature. So there are always alternatives, and that's something that we want to spread in many communities throughout the United States and beyond, to create a culture change.
Yeah.
So what is culture? Culture is that business school, medical school, everything comes back to culture. Culture is when language around the concept becomes ubiquitous, ever present in populations. When the language of healthy eating becomes ever present, and that only happens when enough people talk about it, talk about alternatives, talk about replacement, talk about engineering the situation for yourself and planning, then it becomes ever present. So we don't go to churches and synagogues and mosques and community centers and all these places and see those over 65 over and over and over again with strokes,
Yeah.
with dementia, with vascular disease. It's critical that we kind of become aware of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are great points. Speaking of food and recipes, make sure you go to our website. We actually have a lot of new recipes there. And if you like this video, if you think somebody's going to be able to get some information from it, please share it and subscribe to our videos on YouTube channel too. Our website is teamshareseye.com. We're Team Shares Eye on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram. We would appreciate it if you could use it. And like always, check out our book, The Alzheimer's Solution. It's a great book. There's a lot of information about how you can modify your lifestyle to be healthy, whether it's with food, or exercise, or any other lifestyle factors that we usually talk about. That's basically it,
That's
right?
it.
Okay, so we're going to come back to you next week with another topic.
Well, in
Please-
2 weeks.
Oh, in 2 weeks. Yes, that's right. Please leave a comment. Any questions that you may have, we would love to get back to you. We love conversations, and let us know how we're doing.
I know that I'm not supposed to end with this, but please, whatever culture you're from, whatever background, take one of the most unhealthy food that you have and alter it towards health. Let's see what and put it at the bottom.
Send us a picture of it.
Yes.
We would love to see it, and we can actually highlight it on our website.
Please do. That would be wonderful.
And for this video as well, whoever leaves a comment and shares it, we are going to choose a person who will receive our book, and we will send it to you.
Yeah, in fact, if you send a picture of the altered, healthy version of your food, we'll give you a book.
Let's
well,
do that.
One person will be
Let's
picked.
do that. Alter one of your favorite recipes and make it healthy, and let us know about it. That's fun. I love that.
Genius.
It is genius.
Absolutely genius, if I have to say so myself. Yes. Thank
Okay,
you.
guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your comments. I'll get back to you. I'm sorry I have a very small screen today because we're traveling, and I'll stay in touch with you guys, and have a wonderful weekend. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. How do you end this?
You don't.